My name's Libby, I live in Newcastle, and I adopted a little girl with fetal alcohol syndrome last year. So fetal alcohol spectrum disorder is a medical term that covers any kind of damage or developmental delay that's been caused by alcohol in pregnancy. It can look very different for every child. FASD kids often excel in some areas, but there's a lot of delays around understanding and learning and behaviour and emotional issues, as well as occasional physical problems as well. So getting the diagnosis was a huge relief. I was expecting a long battle to get the support that we needed, but at the same time it was very sad. I find it a difficult diagnosis to accept because it is preventable, and not for myself, but because my daughter's going to have to grow up and understand that this is something that was caused and could have been prevented, and that's not through any kind of deliberate intention, but the reality is she has a lifelong condition that is irreversible. I think also one of the hardest things for me about the condition is that how she appears to everybody else is very different to living with her. So she has a very, very sociable personality. She's over friendly, very indiscriminate with people, but that kind of portrays her as a child that looks normal and behaves normally, and then I take her home and she's incredibly aggressive and unable to manage her emotions and regulate her senses, so it is really difficult, and I hadn't expected that. I genuinely thought we'd have a few years to kind of get to know each other before I'd have to deal with the reality of this, and no, that's not quite what happened. FASD is a difficult condition to have, but there is something about our kids that is amazing, and she just brings happiness on chaos and mayhem everywhere she goes, and you know, it'd be great if we could deal with some of the things that make life hard for her, but I wouldn't change her. I think it's even more important to raise awareness now because medical guidelines have changed, whereas, you know, we all know that our mums and our grands and stuff were allowed the odd drink in pregnancy. There is new regulation now where the NHS is saying there is no safe amount, so it's even more important that that message is getting out there to people who might not know it. But it's also important because nobody wants to deliberately harm their child, and people need to understand that alcohol does have that effect. In the same way you wouldn't give a newborn baby a drink in the 21st century, the same information needs to go across in pregnancy. It is a completely preventable condition. I think a lot of the time when people do drink in pregnancy, it's because they didn't know, because it's really early on, and that's absolutely understandable. But that's why, even if you think you could be pregnant, or even if you're just trying to conceive, that's the time to give up alcohol. We talk a lot about 0 for 9. It's no alcohol for 9 months, and that's absolutely essential. But even before that point, if you suspect, just give it a miss, take a night off, take 9 months off, because your future with your child is absolutely worth giving up that.